everyone. Welcome to episode 120 of Formidable Opponents, a show that pits three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph. And this week's topic is Best Music Collaboration. Who doesn't love a great music collaboration? You get to listen to the work two amazing artists bring together, two distinct voices and diverse talents telling a story from 2 points of view. The balance, the unique elements, they all play into these memorable hits. The best collaborations transcend time. They go beyond the zeitgeist of their release and live on forever, even when one of the artists goes on to a bigger career. The bond that this collaboration gave them forever holds the weight of a timeless moment where connection outweighs career for a brief 3 minutes. Many of these iconic collaborations not only topped the charts, but they were also the soundtrack to our emotions, to our discoveries, and even opened the door to allow new musical influences to shape our tastes. The longevity of these pieces not only stand the test of time, but they also endure as an inspiration for current artists to seek these repeated successes. In the past, collaborations, although constant, they felt like a treat. But today, current artists pepper their albums by bringing in guests to collaborate on their hits. Although it is a more common practice, the appreciation and the love for these combined efforts remain unchanged. This week, Formidable Opponents debate and discuss Best Music Collaboration. With me, as always, are two guys who are just going to shout "yeah" and "dale" throughout this episode. Bob and Joseph, how are you guys doing?
I wish I knew
that is not in my vernacular, sir.
What was that, Joseph?
I said I wish I knew what that reference was.
Guys, we're talking about music collaborations. What an exciting topic. This has been on the shelf for a while. I think it was like on our original 20 topics when we started. You know, we love talking about music. We love talking about musical collaborations. And Bob, speaking of musical collaborations, you were at a concert last night with a frequent collaborator to some many big artists. Tell us a little bit about your concert journey last night.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. Oh shit, I got to see Ringo Starr and his all-star band last night. I got to see a Beatle. That was pretty exciting. I've been a fan of the Beatles for a very long time. As you know, we've talked a lot of Beatles on this show. And last night I got to see them. They came about 30 minutes away from my hometown, so we got to go see Ringo Starr. He also had the lead singer for Toto. He had the lead singer for Men at Work. He was pretty amazing. I posted some pictures on my personal Instagram. I'll post them on ours. Dude, he doesn't look 83. He looks phenomenal. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, this is what peace and weed and love does for you. Fuck, sign me up, man. This guy, he looks fantastic. He's moving around. He's smiling. He was throwing jokes left and right. He was awesome. He was pretty amazing. Yeah.
He still moves around.
Psychedelics.
He still moves around pretty well, right, Bob? Good on the drums.
Yeah, he moves around pretty well. That new plastic hip, man. Jesus Christ. No, but he did great. Like, he moved around. He played the drums really well. I was in awe a lot at certain parts of the show because it's fucking Ringo Starr from the Beatles, and you get to see him live. So it was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing.
Now, I have to ask you this. Does he talk about, the stories behind the songs, or are there any Beatle moments?
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't. He'll mention, oh, me and my friend John came up with this. He's like, my friend John wrote this song. And
nice.
Yeah, he's like, my friend John wrote this song, and he goes, you know what, Ringo, I can't sing this, man. You have to do it. And it was kind of an upbeat song and something like that. And I was like, I could see why he would give it to Ringo to sing instead of him. And it was pretty nice, man. He mentions John, he mentioned Paul and George once in there, but he didn't give any stories and nothing like that. It was really about the band, that the guys he was playing with. He really pushed them a lot and, made them the superstars of the night as well as him. So he was amazing. It was a great show. An hour and 45-minute show. He did amazing.
And was the crowd into it?
The crowd was really into it, dude. I didn't see so many, they let all the old folks' homes out early. They're like, y'all can go party tonight. But it was great. It was a great crowd. It was packed. Everybody seemed like they were having a great time. Everybody was singing along. Great stuff, man. It was great.
It's great to put that off your bucket list, right? See a Ringo Starr concert, see some of the Beatles hits being played live by a Beatle. I mean, what an incredible experience. You're very lucky to have witnessed that. That's really cool.
Shit. I've seen a lot of bands. I've been to a lot of concerts, and I've only been in awe a few times when I saw Metallica for the first time at the X Games, when I saw I saw Elton John in Vegas, which was fucking cool. Such a different genre of music. And then seeing this dude, I was like, whoa, Jesus Christ, I've seen ZZ Top. Like a lot of the older bands, those are the ones I'm freaking out about. They're still amazing. They still got it. They can still jam. It's pretty great.
Excellent, excellent. So we are talking about music today, and we're talking about collaborations. Bob got to witness some great collaborations last night. We're going to talk about some more collaborations on this episode. So guys, kicking off the opening questions. When two artists are combining their superpowers together, what are you looking for in a good song? What makes a good collaborative effort?
Just both being able to highlight, I guess, what it is that they do or what they bring to their own band, whether it's a vocalist for one band showing up on another band's song, or two like major artists. No, like two major artists, like for example, let's just say Billy Idol. Sometimes just the singer from one band will sing on another song, and that's always cool too. But it's like I said, it's going to be something that I'm always looking for that just highlights both of their stuff. Like there's a reason why you want, if you're a fan of both of them and it works out, there's a reason why they're successful, and it's cool to put them on your song, to do whoever's having them, come out on the particular record or particular song, to have them come do what they do, because you're a fan of them. And then if we're all fans of them, it makes it even better if they just, do something great and amazing that they're both, known for doing, not like dancing in the street,
So I take it that's not in your honorable mention.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
What about you, Bob? What are you looking for in these
I definitely agree with Joseph. Like they both have to highlight their best qualities. It should be a mesh together with their music. It shouldn't be like one person's a superstar and the other one's just kind of singing quietly in the background, or one's overshadowing the other. They should really push each other to make a great song or great music.
Yeah.
We've seen we'll talk about a lot of them in our honorable mentions, a lot of great collaborators, and there was definitely some shitty ones as well. But they should definitely highlight each other. I think Joseph nailed that.
Shitty collaborations, definitely a topic for the future, right? Yeah. We all know that editing and production can do wonders for acts. And you read about these collaborations, how some of these artists never even met. Like one person recorded their piece in one studio and the other one did it across the world in their studio, never met. I think a big litmus test is that if the same magic can be performed live. Because we talk about some of our, I think all of our selections, they've all played live together. They all sound phenomenal. And you can't fake chemistry. And when these songs create a toehold on the zeitgeist, you're going to perform these songs live. And that's a true litmus test, because there are a lot of songs that I was looking at, like, that was a good collaboration, but they never met each other. They never performed live. How do we know there's true magic to that? Because production, editing, and all this, technology can do wonders for a song and for a voice. So I think that's a true test. Can it be performed live, and will it blow the audience's minds? Is commercial success a defining factor? What do you guys think? Or for you, is it more of a personal preference when you're trying to select a good collaborative song?
Not all of these selections were commercial singles or commercial, so they didn't have the full on, commercial success, and it doesn't take anything away from them at all. These are all great songs that, sometimes aren't the feature or the single released from an album, and that doesn't take anything away from it. So for me, it's all personal feelings. If it's a good song, it's a good song. That's like, just going back to the first question. If it works and it works out amazing, that's great. It doesn't need to be commercially successful. Maybe they didn't want to do it commercially successful. Although that,
duets,
I'm not trying to
mean?
Yeah, duets, right? Not trying to take anything away from the ones that were released as like full on commercial singles that were like, we're putting this out there. We're telling the world that we're doing this, and we're doing, not trying to take anything away from those at all. It's, for me, it's more on a personal level, whether I really enjoyed the song, and if it's great, if it features two people two artists that I'm really into.
What about you? I think it's a little bit of both, man. I think it has to have some kind of success for it to be, on the radio or whatever. But of course, it all goes down to personal preference. Like, are you going to play that? You're going to put that on your burned CD, right, Joseph, and listen to it on the way to work over and over again. But it has to have some type of success. But then again, there's some songs that are extremely successful that I think are garbage. So it just really comes down to personal preference.
I think for me, it has to leave some sort of legacy. Now, if that's a legacy that is accepted by the entire, music listening population, sure. But of course, there's a legacy within your own personal playlist too, right? I'm going to go back and listen to this over and over because it reminds me of a time. It makes me feel good. And these artists And these artists aren't always going to be combining for things, right? And there's so many collaborations we've forgotten about. I was looking at my honorable mentions. I didn't mention the dulcet tones of Philip Bailey and Phil Collins and Easy Lover, which was a great song, but it's now related more to like drug bust scenes for Grand Theft Auto video games, right? It's not really used for what its intention was, which was just a good pop song. But I mean, you know, it's a niche market song. It plays into these great fast-paced commercials, so it has some sort of legacy. We're going to miss a ton of songs in our honorable mentions because there were so many, too many to mention. But commercial success, isn't that what you're aiming for? Wouldn't you want to broaden your audience? I think a good duet or a good collaboration is bringing two people together so their audiences could witness that other person and maybe become a fan of them. Digging into your honorable mentions, what is the most surprising good collaboration on your list?
Well, it ain't Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson say because that song sucked. I'm sorry. That's what you get. You get take two superstars and you're like, hey, we should do a song together. Of course you do. And they're fucking hating each other after the fact that Michael stole the what's it called? The album
catalog, yeah.
The catalog from Paul. But yeah, that terrible song. I guess one that you could say that I was pretty a song that I love, and it's by two completely polar opposite bands. It was Public Enemy and Anthrax.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Bring the Noise. Yeah. Fucking great. Two bands, groups, different backgrounds, different points of view, different styles of music, and they brought it together. And man, they made it. That Bring the Noise is one of my favorite songs. It fires me up. It's a badass song. So I think that's probably one of my biggest surprises how well that worked out.
I owe Bob for this one. He's actually a really big fan. He showed me Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. Am I saying that?
Krauss? Yeah.
Krauss. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. The first song he showed me from them was Sister Rosetta Goes Before Us. Mm-hmm. And it's this hauntingly like awesome bluegrassy like melody, and just wasn't what I was expecting. I didn't know who Alison Krauss was before obviously we all know Robert Plant, but it was crazy. It was really awesome, and it was cool to see like another side from him. So I was really surprised by that, and they're still doing their thing. So good for them.
When I hear Bring the Noise, I immediately think of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, one of my favorite songs on the video game soundtrack. My selection was Picture from Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow. Let it be known that this may be the only time I compliment Kid Rock on this show. Great song. Even in the video, Kid Rock doesn't look like a scumbag that smells like a combination of Marlboro Reds and wet dog. He had a moment with this song. Kid Rock walked so Post Malone could run. This is like the OxyContin version of Shallow by Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga, but I like this song a lot. What are your thoughts on Picture, Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow?
I don't even know the song, so I couldn't even tell you, dude.
You don't know this song?
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
It showed his range, you know, at the time, like, you know, he was that particular version of Kid Rock at the time. He had some songs that, you know, people were like, okay, wow, he's got some good vocal range. And this kind of highlighted that. So it was actually very successful. So, I mean, I give them props for it, for what they did at the time. Both of them, it was a pretty big song, and it worked together, both of them. I doubt they'd ever do this song nowadays, but yeah, it's a one moment in history, I guess.
So let's go on to our...
I just listened to it. It's terrible. I don't know what you're talking about, man. It's terrible.
So let's go on to our honorable mentions. Bob, what do you got for us?
So, of course, I mentioned Anthrax and Public Enemy singing Bring the Noise. I did also have Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. That whole album, Joseph Raising Sand, was just amazing for me. David Bowie did do one correctly. Under Pressure, him and Freddie Mercury.
Yep.
Brilliant collaboration, brilliant song. I also have Justin Timberlake and Chris Stapleton, Say Something. I'm a big fan of that song, dude. I have this is gonna be a fun one because you know we've talked bad about him before, especially Randall. Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott singing "Hero" for the Spider-Man soundtrack. Badass song. I thought it was awesome. One of the best songs of that first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I love that one. And lastly, I'll round out with, speaking of the Beatles and Eric Clapton, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. One of their best songs, one of my favorite songs.
I got Anthrax and Public Enemy, of course. Bring the Noise, great song. Alice in Chains and Elton John did a song together on Black Gives Way to Blue, their first album, you know, with their new singer. Anyway, David Bowie and Trent Reznor. What a great song and combination those two were on I'm Afraid of Americans. Lamb of God and Chino Moreno, Embers. Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell, also known as Temple of the Dog, Hunger Strike. I think that's a great fucking song. I had Justin Timberlake and Chris Stapleton too as well. I told this to Bob the other day. I said, man, like I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Stapleton. I like what he does, that it's different from this country pop s stuff. And Timberlake has matured as a musician in a great way, and that is just a great combination of two artists doing their thing. Great song. Befouled Tongue featuring CJ McCreery, Between the Realms.
Whoa.
This is song, I know some of these songs a lot of people aren't going to know, but I'm going to talk about it. You mentioned it. Santana and Rob Thomas, Smooth.
Yes.
And Put Your Lights On with Everlast. Two great songs, two great collaborations. Brandy and Monique, The Boy's Mine. I mean, that was a massive song. Like I can't deny it. Like it was hugely popular. Everybody had it on.
We listened to it the other night. We were like, oh shit, I forgot about this one. It's a great collaboration.
I had Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson's "The Girl Is Mine." Not the other one.
Say,
"The Girl Is Mine" is
Joseph.
a good one.
Yeah, it is. That's a good song.
Say it ain't so, Joseph.
Queen, David Bowie, of course. Allison Chains and Ann Wilson on "Brother." That's a great combination. Of course, I've made no secret about my love for Ann Wilson and her vocals. I think she's tremendous.
Yes.
Linkin Park and Jay-Z, Numb encore collaboration. And of course, this is a song that I almost went with. I just think it's a really great song. I know a lot of people don't know it. I've maybe talked about it a few times. Limp Bizkit featuring Scott Weiland, a song called Hold On. This is a really, really great song that basically Scott Weiland makes his own. Even though it is a Limp Bizkit release.
We'll go on to my honorable mentions. I'm kicking it off with Willie Nelson and Julio Iglesias, To All the Girls I Loved Before. Now, I want to delve further into this song. Coming off last week's episode where I talked about Enrique Iglesias, this song, To All the Girls I Loved Before, huge hit in 1985. This sounds like a very sweet and sentimental song. You even have that MIDI keyboard playing in the background, the kind of keyboard you only see nowadays played by an old guy at a Mexican restaurant. You know, the type of Mexican restaurant where they keep the Christmas lights hanging year round and you shouldn't order past the chips, salsa, and margaritas. Anyway, so this song sounds innocent, and then you realize these guys are talking about all the ass they slayed back in the day. These legendary stickmen are comparing body counts. Willie and Julio, they don't look like two guys who discriminate. My favorite line, to all the girls who shared my life, who now are someone else's wives. You know, these are guys who built lives on these women. These poor 80s husbands wondering if Julio or Willie or both of them slept with their wives. They probably did, but insane song when you really think about it. I also had Tennessee Whiskey, Chris Stapleton and Justin Timberlake. As if Timberlake didn't have enough problems during the past few years, he gets mentioned after To All the Girls I Loved Before.
Did they sing Tennessee Whiskey or just say something?
They sang Tennessee Whiskey. Am I right, Joseph?
No, say something.
I think they did it together at a live performance.
Okay.
But if you want to say like
the one video they have in the song that they released together was Say Something.
But I saw a live video of them.
I saw a performance of them together, so I didn't know if this was like a released album with them both, or it might have.
Do your research, sir? No,
that's all I do. That's all I do.
I saw the little clip.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I saw the little clip photo
clip.
of that song on YouTube, and but I didn't get a chance to check it out. But I was like, oh, that's cool. They collaborated on it. Nice. Or they did a duet.
I guess we could just say they both just sound great together, no matter what they sing. I had Endless Love, Diana Ross and Lionel Richie. This was in my top 3. What a beautiful song! A song about fidelity. Julio and Willie. I
only had that because they both look fails at that point in time in their lives. He looks way better now. Beautiful man now. Love you, Lionel.
I had Stop Dragging My Heart Around, Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks. So much chemistry in the song. I had to Google if they dated. I got conflicting results, but most pointed that it was just a friendship or mentorship, maybe a little cocaine. If they dated, nobody was waking up before 1 p.m. at that house. They would have been Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love before Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love, but with keyboards and rhythm. I had Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong, Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Almost Paradise, Mike Reno from Loverboy and Ann Wilson from Heart. There's another Ann Wilson mentioned, Joseph. I had After All by Peter Cetera and Cher, Under Pressure, Queen and David Bowie, Don't Know Much, Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville. What a beautiful song. I had Get Lucky by Daft Punk.
Know much.
Look at this face, so full of inspiration. It's like Cajun. I can't do it. I was going to do the high Aaron. I want to do the high Aaron Neville voice. I can't do it, man. Shout outs to him and Ray Lewis. Get Lucky, Daft Punk with Pharrell and Nile Rodgers. As I mentioned before, Daft Punk.
About that one. Good one.
Yeah, Daft Punk looks like a clean public urinal should look like, right? Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Elton John and Kiki D. Elton John is like the Nate Dogg for like old white people. I had Say, Paul and Michael, and then lastly I had Empire State of Mind, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. My wife asked me to mention my wife asked me to mention Taylor Swift and Bon Iver Exile, which it's a good song. Yeah, we'll go with that. So
sure she did. I'm sure she did. She really had to twist her arm for that one.
Before we move into our selections, just because you mentioned Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, although it's not like, okay, Jay-Z is a rapper, I just want to say, like, I think we've all purposely left out hip hop collaboration singles because there's there is a ton, hundreds if not thousands of great
Rihanna and Eminem.
Hip hop rap songs that feature two
MCs. A lot of their songs are featured. Yeah, they feature another artist on the damn thing. So it's
to pick one would be.
That's a whole episode of its own. Yeah.
so I just want to throw that out there. We did not like overlook hip hop at all.
That's very true. That's very true.
Well, I mean, one of the first things we mentioned was Anthrax and Public Enemy. Though,
but it was a rap
metal
group with a rock band. So kind of kicked off the whole new metal thing anyway. But anyway,
in respects to rap and hip hop, that's its
pretty
own
much
episode.
Everything Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Warren G and Nate Dogg. I mean, that's its own episode that we'll have to do in the future. But shout out to all the great rap collaborations.
Then you fuck it up by saying
they still rock. All right, so we're gonna go on with our selections. Bob is first. What do you got for us, Bob? Best collaboration in a song.
Speaking of rap and hip hop, you have to go with. I had to go with Run DMC and Aerosmith. Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, Walk This Way, the first ever major collaboration between rock and a rap artist that went mainstream. I think this is one of the things that once fans and other groups saw this go so commercial and be so successful, it was like the recipe for greatness, and it was like they walked this way, obviously, so that way others could run, like Anthrax and Public Enemy. This is one of my favorite songs growing up. The music video itself, I know everybody's seen the music video. If you haven't, it's so great to see the back and forth between Run DMC and Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. And they're playing both ways, playing like different sites and breaking through the walls and breaking the barriers. It's kind of a cool little irony there, I guess you could say. I was watching an interview with DMC with Daryl McDaniels on Livewire, and he's talking about how at house parties back in the day that they would always bust out the Toys in the Attic track 4. That song, they didn't even know Walk This Way was the title of the song. They just knew Toys in the Attic track 4, and they'd play the intro, and then they'd start rapping over it, and it happened over and over again. It's so ironic that they didn't know the title to the track or the lyrics or anything like that. They never played it further enough. It was like the first 10 seconds, and then the DJ would scratch, and they would go into their raps and their rhymes. So it was pretty ironic that they did that. I love that when they first decided to come along with this song, they just wanted to sample it. They wanted to sample it and create a rhyme and a rap over it, just like they had done at house parties. And Rick Rubin walks in, of course, the great Rick Rubin, who's just one of those producers, man, that's done so many great collaborations and created so much great music, or helped artists create such great music. I didn't even know that he was a part of this until, through my research and watching interviews and stuff. So Rick Rubin walks in and he's like, maybe we shouldn't just sample it. You all should redo the entire song, listen to the entire song, rap, and sing the lyrics and change it up as you see fit. And don't just sample it. And of course, Rev Run and DMC, they weren't really in on it, but Jam Master Jay was all about it, dude. He was like, yes, we should do it. This would be great. We should try it. And the studio gets involved. They're like, you know what? We can even bring in Steven Tyler and Joe Perry if you want. And they could sing along with it. And watching the interview with these people, you can tell these guys are from complete different worlds. Steven Tyler with his fucking leather suit and his red headband, and Joe Perry's the fucking man. But of course, Run DMC, this greatly a huge popular rap group. They just come out with the King of Rock and Rock Box, and they were just on top of the world. They're just hitting their peak at this point in time, and they didn't have to collaborate. As a matter of fact, like going through it, you could tell that they weren't into it. They weren't into it at all. As DMC was saying in the interview, he was like, I don't know, man. Okay, we did it. I liked it a lot. I like these people. They're good guys, but I don't know, man. Maybe we shouldn't put it on the album. This is just for fun, right? It's just for fun. As the singles get sent out to radios, hip hop radios, rap radios, as well as rock radios, they start throwing out "Walk This Way," this little collaboration, and man, it just exploded. Hip hop fans loved it. Rock fans at first they didn't get it, but then they loved it because this was a hugely popular song by Aerosmith back in the 70s. And to bring it back and give that new spin, I think it like brought that band back to life. And really, in reality, it did. They had just released an album. They weren't doing that hot. They had broken up for a while. Steven Tyler's drug problems. Joe Perry left the band. The usual story for a lot of bands in the 60s and 70s and shit throughout music, right? And this song, it revived them. It brought them back to life. It brought them back into the mainstream. And even Run DMC, who didn't think maybe this would do much of anything, man, it brought them into a different kind of limelight. Like now they weren't just getting played on hip hop stations. They're getting played on rock stations. They weren't just getting urban fans. They were getting white fans. They were getting suburban fans. You know what I mean? It brought them into a different type of popularity. Like they weren't just hip hop. It would later, of course, they'd be hip hop icons, but they weren't just this great hip hop group that's taking the world by storm. Now they're taking the world by storm and just over all genres of music. So it was an extremely, extremely important song for them. Maybe more so Aerosmith, bringing them back into the limelight, but it made Run DMC a household name, and it made them extremely popular. I don't think that, what do we have? Rev Run had that show, that his reality TV show. Yeah, Run's House. You wouldn't have Run's House without having a song like Walk This Way bring them into a different kind of limelight. I don't think it brought them into a different, a different level of popularity in the world of pop culture and pop music and hip hop music and rock music. So I think this song was an extremely important song. It wasn't just two bands collaborating because they really liked each other's music. It was two bands that were kind of like pulled together and like, hey, this could be beneficial for both of y'all. And let's just see what happens. And fortunately for them, I mean, it exploded. So this is my pick. I don't think that it's very hard to top, at least for me. I came up with a lot of different ones. I have a lot of good honorable mentions, but this is one that really just stuck out to me.
Two personal anecdotes about this song. There are few songs that I can remember the first time ever hearing. This is one of them. My brother won a mix cassette from some contest at school, and he brought it over. He's like, "Do you want this?" I said, "Sure." First song on that mix cassette was "Walk This Way," Aerosmith and Run DMC. This was around 1986, I believe. And it's one of those, like, you put on the headphones, this song comes out, your pupils get twice the sizes that they were, the hair on your arms stand up. It's something different. I mean, this was like an experience, not just a song. And I remember a friend of mine took me to a Kid Rock concert, speaking of Kid Rock, and Run DMC opened for him, or actually Reverend Run opened for him, and so did Jay Giles, Angel is a Centerfold.
I went to that damn concert too, Ren.
Did you? So I remember they did Walk This Way together. I mean, sans Aerosmith, but they tore the house down with that song. And that was like the highlight of the concert. And you'd have a tough time trying to find a song that was more mutually beneficial for both bands than this one. So it's a great pick. A song that cemented Run DMC's legacy and rap rock pioneers. They gave him that title and gave Aerosmith its first resurgence. This was my introduction to Aerosmith as well. I had no idea who they were. They were this huge rock band of the 70s. This was a cover or a reimagination of a 1975 hit. So it was a rebirth of a song. And according to a February 2006 Q Magazine article, Run DMC stumbled across this song during a search for breakbeats to use during a DJ set in the early 80s. They didn't know who Aerosmith were, and they thought the band was called Toys in the Attic because that was the title of the album, Toys in the Attic. Rick Rubin, who was producing Raising Hell, was a fan of Aerosmith and suggested that Jam Master Jay, that he call Tyler and Perry and ask him to play a cover version along with their rap beats. Essentially, Jam Master Jay created this boss intro, this stylized drum beats, and he scratched the intro of the song so perfectly. Run DMC weren't strangers to sampling rock music over rap beats. They were heavily influenced by the rock sound and oftentimes shared studio space with heavy metal bands that they would listen to for ideas. These guys were students of the game. People criticized rap as not being real music at the time because it was sampled, not true. It took artistry to rap over and put these songs together. They were talented influences influencing talented people. So Run DMC were going to generate lyrics, their own lyrics for this beat, featuring Walk This Way by Aerosmith. But Rick Rubin, again, who was a fan of Aerosmith, had a different idea and advised Run DMC to cover the song. And Run DMC was initially not happy about this. I remember in an interview, Reverend Run said the lyrics were corny as hell. Seesaw swinging with the boys in the school.
Hillbilly.
Feet flying up in the air. Yeah, he called them hillbilly, right? Singing Hey Diddle Diddle with your kitty in the middle. He was like, these are whack lyrics, right? He did not like these lyrics. Run was like, that's white people hillbilly stuff, right? But Run DMC and Aerosmith had something in common. They needed each other. Run DMC needed Aerosmith to break through to the mainstream, to pop audiences, to rock audiences. Aerosmith had an album in 1985 that flopped called Done with Mirrors, and people were done with them. And they needed that resurgence, right? It was a full circle moment because Aerosmith was hugely influenced by black blues musicians. Steven Tyler's fast cadence is very much lifted from these hugely talented artists that we never gave them their due, right? The bands were working against the clock when they recorded this album. Run DMC had doubts about this song. They both had to venture off to different places. So it was a pressure-packed situation for Rick Rubin. But what this song did was help to expose rap to a white audience. Rick Rubin said in his book, Rick Rubin said in the book, I Want My MTV, he said, the record and the video had a huge effect on both groups. It opened the door to Run DMC's full suburban crossover, and it reminded people how great Aerosmith was. Bingo, on point. It's crazy to think that this song was almost never made. Run DMC hated the lyrics. They refused to record it, but Rick Rubin said that this song would be recorded with or without them. He said, if you guys don't want to do it, I'm just going to have Aerosmith re-record the song, and we're going to release it that way. But luckily they compromised, and the rest is history. An influential song. I love that Aerosmith was back on the mainstream. Could have done without Dude Looks Like a Lady, Ragdoll and Elevator, Love in an Elevator. But at the time, they released Angel, What It Takes, a lot of these great 80s Aerosmith songs. And there was another tail off in the early 90s, but they came back in 93 with Get a Grip. Great story for Aerosmith. But Run DMC does not get enough credit for this. And that's my only complaint, is that this is a Run DMC inspired song. Without Run DMC, we might have not had an Aerosmith resurgence. I know it's an original Aerosmith song, but nobody gave a damn about them since Rocks was released in 1976. That was their last big album. They had back-to-back monster albums in back-to-back years with Rocks and Toys in the Attic. And Rocks and drugs were just taking over the band, as you mentioned, Bob. The track was ahead of its time, and it's listed as a Run DMC song. It's branded as a Run DMC song. The name in lights, the Adidas with no shoelaces, the great video, two genres coming together. It's a beautiful thing. Run DMC is rocking it. Aerosmith doesn't look like our ants yet. This is the togetherness that all great leaders fought and died for. Aerosmith and Run DMC. I do love this pick. This is the top 5 for me. Joseph, what do you think?
I think you just helped Bob win this fucking thing.
I can't lie. It's a fucking great pick.
No, it is, dude. It is. This is the bonus episode, so we're having fun anyway. Bonus. When you talk about go back to one of the questions that Rand mentioned at the beginning, is it a commercial success thing or is it a personal thing? This is both in those situations. This was a massively commercially successful song for both artists. I do like how, it just works. The first, what is hip hop? What are hip hop beats? First and foremost, they're drum beats. They're drums. That's how they start. And somehow this worked. It's tweaked a little bit, sure, to give it a little bit of a hip hop flavor, but the drum beats were perfect. The guitar intro worked perfectly with how Run DMC wanted to rap on this song, or how they wanted to approach their verses and how, to structure them. The original Walk This Way in its own right is a good song. It was recorded when they were younger. So Steven Tyler sounds a little bit young. His vocals are, they're younger, whatever. I think bringing it back this way, it's almost kind of like the song matured in its own right. Mm-hmm. I think he got a better voice as he got older. Maybe it was the drugs. I
agree with that to a certain extent, but Dream On is fucking amazing.
Yes, of course. Dream On is a great song. Dream On is a great song in his older voice. I don't really like to, no, he still sings it pretty good. They still sing it pretty good live nowadays, but man, the original Dream On is great. But in this case, this song worked like that. Like his vocals, singing these vocals again on this version with Run DMC, and it is a Run DMC song, just it sounds better. They sound way better, and it just worked perfectly. Yeah, it's a little sad to hear in the beginnings of how it came together and how like there was some stuff in the way of getting it done, and like them not really wanting to do it. You know, that's kind of sad because it ended up working. And I hope in the end they felt like, you know what, we made the right decision, because this is one
They
of those
got all that money they did, fuck yeah.
this is one of those ones. It's like it's top. It's up there. It's definitely it's so recognizable. It is two powerhouses in music. Whether or not they were both kind of tailing off in their, you know, at the time of its recording.
Well, DMC was peaking, but I think what's called Aerosmith was definitely
it's
over the top. Yeah,
it's definitely like it's two big names. Like you don't, you know, people historians won't ever let you not remember Run DMC as a history in hip hop music.
So you're gonna say the Alamo?
Not today, but I will another day. Don't hear it too often because I don't listen to the radio, but it's definitely a top tier pick. Probably in history of music collaborations, I could see it being in majority of top 5 lists.
I want to say shout outs to Jam Master Jay, rest in peace, by the way, because it was his idea. They were supposed to sing blocks of the songs, like Run DMC would sing like the first half, and then Aerosmith would come in, then they would end with Run DMC. But Jam Master Jay's idea was like, why don't we trade lines like a battle, like a duel, and it just worked better. So great suggestion by him.
We're when we do these things, we're supposed to be about the song, but the video was really fucking cool too.
Yeah, the video was great. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, those Adidas, yeah.
Yeah. Great and concept. That's our show, folks. They just, I just won this shit. So there you go.
Roll the credits, right? We'll play Walk This Way. Well, we're going to walk this way and go with Joseph for the next pick. What do you think, Joseph? What a terrible segue. Go ahead, Joseph.
That was a hell of a segue, Monty.
It's all right. It's probably a song that only you three know, and then a few other listeners. It's typical Joseph selection, right? Anyway, I selected Passenger by the Deftones featuring the great Maynard James Keenan of Tool off of their quintessential third album, White Pony, released back in June of 2000. This album is old enough to buy drinks. The song itself was never intended to include Maynard as a guest singer. During the recording process of the album, Maynard was invited to sort of mentor and oversee some of the songs and possibly do some production on the album. And during a moment when Chino Moreno, the vocalist, stepped out of the studio, Maynard, he improvised on some lines over the track, and to introduce an example for a different type of approach to the song. And how they record. Again, he was, kind of there to be, show them something different, be a little, mentor them. But they loved what he was doing. This is a quote from Chino. He came in and we started working on this one song in particular, and he just grabbed the microphone and started singing along to it. All of a sudden, our band sounded like Tool. It was just crazy. 2 months later, we went in to record the album. I went in to record the vocals on it, and I just kept hearing his voice. So I called him and asked him if he wanted to come down and sing on the record. Being a fan of both of these bands, and for others who share that love of these bands, this was an epic collaboration. I'm a big fan of certain vocalists who tell, their stories in their songs that are never really straightforward, kind of always, left to interpretation. And Chino and Maynard do that very well in the songs that they write as lyrically. Now, I'll be honest, this song, pretty kind of straightforward. It's about being young and throwing down in a parked car. All right. Car sex. Yes. Fans still debate this, though. Some are adamant it's a cruise song about, how you feel after a night out. Just
it's about sex.
But I know. But you know what? That's art. That's art, right? It's left up to interpretation, and that's great. That's something I mentioned that these two guys do.
The way I do it is art. Yeah, that's right.
Sonically, the vibe of the sound, the vibe and sound of the song walk a real fine line between both bands. While on the record, the band seeked to distance themselves with this album from the whole nu metal label. They fully succeeded with this record, and I believe it's songs like this that helped them distinguish those intentions of getting away from that whole being lumped into that. They took their time while they were, there was pressure from the label to act quickly with their third album and put something else out there. There was an interview with the Chi Chang gave a quote to the former lead bassist of the band. He said this music was really popular right now, and it would be easy for us to just jump into something and put something out there and take advantage of that. And we felt like we wanted to take our time and do something more comfortable with how we feel and how we feel where this band is going. And that's something that they did with this album. And I really, that's why I say this album is like probably the one that set them aside from everything else. I said the song walks a line between both bands, and at times giving the lead to Maynard and his musical approach style. Although this is a Deftones song, you can't help but notice how Maynard almost takes the lead vocals and runs with them at times. Something the band had no problem with him doing. They were in awe of him, and I don't think they ever played. I don't think they've ever played this song live. At least I've never seen it live. In the 5 times that I have seen them live. Of course, Maynard's not going to just show up, and I can't find any videos of them on YouTube playing this song live together, but it's definitely a staple. It's something that I look forward to seeing when I get the chance to see them. It was just a great music collaboration between two heavyweights of the time. More so, it is very successful in its own right. It wasn't a single, but it's definitely one that Deftones fans and Tool fans and just kind of like hard rock fans, new metal fans, I guess, if you want to say it, definitely speak about this song and its collaboration. Guys, what do you think?
The White Pony album by the Deftones is probably one of my top 10 albums of all time. The Deftones have always been, I've been a fan of Deftones music, but this album in particular, a lot of heavy hitting songs that were amazing. They had Change. I know Change it was their biggest single. Yeah. RX Queen, Digital Bath, Back to School, Knife Party. And then of course Passenger came on, and Passenger was one of those songs that you figure out, oh shit, the lead singer for Tool, sings the chorus or sings kind of a backing vocals, or like you said, at certain times he sounded like he was lead vocals for this song, and it's pretty fucking amazing what they came up with. And I know you said, oh, it sounds a lot like a Tool song, but really it doesn't, at least not in my perspective. It sounds like a Deftones song with Maynard James Keenan singing, the chorus along with it. It rocks hard. It's amazing. The two voices blend so well together because they don't sing over the top of one another. Chino with his kind of a laid back new metal rock voice, and then of course you have Maynard James Keenan who's more of a hard rock voice. And Tool, he kind of mixes it up. It's kind of soft. It could be a little more rough around the edges and loud. I thought it was perfect for this song. It matched the guitar play, the solos, the riffs. It's a great pick, dude. And not a lot of people are going to know this band or know this song. They may have heard about the Deftones. They probably heard Change because it was such a big commercial success back in 2001 when it came out. I think it was 2001, right, Joe, or something like that?
2001.
This song in particular, man, I think this put them over the top. I remember watching interviews when they dropped the album that with guys like James Hetfield saying oh man, this album's just fucking amazing. You have to listen to what Chino Moreno and those guys are doing with the Deftones in this White Pony album. We're just on a different level from the stuff they've done before. So it got a lot of praise by, people in the know, by rock artists, by popular rock artists back when they came out. I just didn't know if it had the commercial success that maybe something of course, Walk This Way and Run DMC, of course, being two different bands, two different genres, that type of thing, two different levels of popularity. But this is a great pick, dude. And not a lot of people know this one, but if you're a fan of new metal, if you're a fan of Tool or hard rock in general, this would be a song to pick up, to download, to listen to. I agree with you, dude. I haven't seen them do a live performance of this, but I wouldn't want to ruin it anyways. The track is pretty amazing on its own.
I would say what I do enjoy about the show is the rediscovery of things I didn't remember. I do remember this song. I hadn't played it probably in about 23 years. It's been a while. And I get it. What I also enjoy about the show is our different tastes. We all like a lot of the same music, but we also like a lot of different music, and we champion different elements of rock music that we hold near and dear. So I think it's a good thing that we get to talk about a song like this on a show like this, on a topic like this, because it wouldn't get mentioned in many other shows. I didn't see it on any list. I didn't see it come up on any of my research, but it is a song that's worth discussing. I would co-sign for a band that featured Chino Moreno and Maynard James Keenan together. I think they're an awesome duo. Their voices complement each other. You really have to be an untalented person to not mix with Maynard James Keenan. That guy could make anybody sound and look better. He's so talented, and I know Joseph is very he's been very vocal about the influences and the music of Maynard James Keenan. And he has a very good right to, because he's an amazing artist. It's a good, sexy song. If I'm in a dark club, drunk and disoriented, I want this song guiding me to my next bad decision. However, it's very much
Couldn't have said it better myself, sir. You nailed that one. Kudos.
It's very much a prisoner of its moment in time. I don't see or hear the mass appeal of this song. I'm not saying it's a bad song, but the mass appeal is sort of missing. People listening to me who have neck tattoos and cargo shorts on, I mean no harm, but not exactly big exposure with this song. I was familiar with this song, but it's not a song I would seek. It had been a few years for me since I've listened to this song. It was great revisiting this collaboration, but I don't see it on many lists outside of people who don't go out during sunlight. But it's a song that ebbs and flows, but you have to be patient with it because there's a payoff once you get deep into this song, and it's so cool. That's most Tool and Deftones song, right? It's a ride, it's an atmosphere to get lost to, and that's what makes them so good. These guys are very meticulous with their music, very talented artists. So you take two talented artists, put them together, you're going to have a great song. Lead singer Chino Moreno, on Maynard's appearance of this song, he said, having Maynard perform on the record wasn't something that we planned on doing. We didn't plan on having any guests on the record, but being a fan of Tool and A Perfect Circle, once Maynard was involved, it was just a magical thing for us. Honestly, when he first started working with us, he wasn't supposed to sing with us. He was just going to work on arrangements, riff structures, time signatures, and things like that. I don't know if you're a big fan of Tool's music, but they're really mathematical, says Chino Moreno, as is he, right? But in collabs, I want something that identifies and pops immediately. This took a while for me to get into. I don't think a song about having sex in a car is an all-time great. I don't want to wrestle cup holders and steering wheels trying to get to those magical moments, but it's a good car sex
Who
song.
invited Urkel over here? Geek, who's this geek? Jesus Christ.
Who wrote down the windows? You're letting the stank out. Okay. Anyway, it's very much of its time. It's mythological. It's mysterious. This would be great for like a wrestler's entrance music, somebody with like a vampire gimmick or something. I like this song. I like the zeitgeist it belongs to. It's a very great time in our lives. I know that 2000 for me was a year of discovery, hits and misses. So yes, it brings me back. I miss my old AOL account. This is a LimeWire Winamp champion song, if there ever was one. But I do not see the song casting a wide net. That's my only complaint, that it's too targeted. But Joseph, it's a great song. I do enjoy both their vocals on this song.
And that's what I like when we do these episodes, and we bring what we bring to the table, even if we know it wasn't the commercial music video success of Walk This Way, but it's cool. It's still cool, and I'm glad like you guys talked about it and see it as fondly as I do, and as maybe the 10% of the listeners that agree with me will agree. But yeah, I just love to talk about good songs that I know, and I hope that
it's a good topic, dude. I mean, it's a good band. It's a different genre of music, very a decade specific genre of music. But Randall, let's see what I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Let's do it.
Talk about. Geez, I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Get ready for this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Sandman.
Can I make one more point about Joseph's song?
Sure.
I will say this: if anybody,
it's icky. There's a laugh.
If anybody discovers the song through this show, Joseph, I think you did your job. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I think that's cool if somebody discovers that song through the show. Okay.
As your all selections as well, for some reason.
Everybody knows this fucking song. Okay, let's go.
They're born in the 50s.
My selection for best music collaboration is none other than Islands in the Stream by Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. Yes, folks, not only is this a beautiful duet that stands the test of time, but there's a secret ingredient that makes this song an all-time classic. It was written by the Bee Gees. That essentially makes this song a combined effort of 5 powerhouse performers. That is a hell of a collective and probably makes for an incredible party with drugs and keys and all that other stuff. Anyway, rumors first circulated that this song was originally written for Diana Ross. It was later claimed that this song was also intended for Marvin Gaye. This is attributed to a 2001 Good Morning America interview with the Bee Gees. When Barry Gibb said the song was written for Ross, Robin Gibb interrupted and said, "No, we wrote it for Marvin Gaye. We sent it to him, but he was dead, so it was a bit difficult for him to sing." No tact from Robin. They should only let Barry Gibb speak. No one ever let Robin speak.
Like his fucking voice.
Put you to the ground. Okay, so this was a monster hit in 1983, charting to number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100, where it knocked off another great song, Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart. You have to be a hell of a song to knock that song off number 1. What a time to be an adult. 1976 through 1983, an era where all songs can be used for drinking, drug use, and sex. All of the above in this case. Let's give the Bee Gees credit for this career pivot. Their sound and style had fallen off ever since the disco era had, ended. And instead of recording music and forcing it on us, they started writing songs for other musicians. Take some notes, Dave Matthews. This song is responsible for one of my favorite elementary school jokes. And that joke is, what do you call Dolly Parton doing the backstroke in a pool? The punchline is the title of the song. Anyway, so great story from Kenny Rogers. He was in Vegas and has a joke. He went to this karaoke spot and sang this song with a Dolly Parton impersonator as he was pretending to impersonate himself. And some guy comes up to him and says, "I'll tell you one thing, you're a hell of a lot better than the real guy." So funny story from Kenny Rogers. The power of this song was that both Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton had already reached their apex. They were on the downside of what was 2 remarkable careers. This song rejuvenated both of them. A feel-good love song. Who doesn't love that? You can call these lyrics and you could call this arrangement corny, but isn't that what love is sometimes? You say and profess things to a person that nobody else would hear or know. And these 2 performers allowed a worldwide audience to think, it's okay to let emotions fly. It's okay to profess love and admiration. It helped to usher in a ubiquitous message of hope and heart. Also, Kenny Rogers' beard, it made this song. Why are beards so popular now? This man did that. Also, the sexual chemistry is palpable. Sure, they look like 2 PTA parents at a bake sale painfully flirting, but there's a strong connection there. 2 people who genuinely like each other. They laugh during their live performances. Well, I'm sure Dolly Parton's husband, Carl, cries. Anyway, they hug, they improvise. Sometimes with these records, these artists never meet, or it's a one-time arrangement, or there's consternation or ego that goes on with it. But these two people, they loved each other. With this song, there's an undeniable chemistry between 2 talented performers, a song as American as apple pie, sung by 2 American country singers, written by 3 Australians, 2 singers bringing an undeniable energy to a song that wasn't even written with them in mind. It was kismet. This song is timeless. It's a gift. It's country. It's pop. It's so melodic. Voices complementing each other. Synergy. And I don't think 2 artists have had a stronger connection in a song. That's why this is my selection. This is a song that everybody's mother says, I would leave my husband for Kenny Rogers because he was amazing in this song. We love him. We love Dolly Parton. Guys, what do you think?
Jesus, you're very excited about that.
That's a great song. I love this song.
This is like what parents, 40th anniversary song in the 80s was. It was Island in the fucking Stream. I see the 2. Man, they look so young. I don't know who has more plastic in their face nowadays, though. I don't know if it's Kenny Rogers or her. I love how you talk about how they look at each other and they laugh. They can't even do that anymore. They can't emote it. Their face won't allow them to. They just kind of like, they kind of make the noise, you know what I mean? Dio Kenny Rogers in that beard. Yeah, he looked great. I think this song is okay. It's not a bad song. I just don't see what kind of impact it had on anything other than 50-year-old men trying to play the song while giving their wives roses on their anniversary in 1985 or whatever it was. It's a good song. It's not I prefer Ghetto Superstar, the remake, rap over way more than this fucking song, where they kind of use the lyrics at will, at their own liberty, right? Marvin Gaye would have torn this song up and it would have been way more sexual than, Islands in the Sun and smiling at each other while chewing bubblegum. This is, it's a little too nice for me, but it's a very sweet song. It's a nice song. This is, I don't know, man. It's just like the commercial, the TV show they show at like 6 o'clock where your kids and the whole family can sit around and watch. It's very nice like that. But it's an okay song. I don't see it being as impactful. Dolly Parton had a million great songs, and a lot of them were better than this one. So yeah, I don't. It's a good song. I get that, but I don't. It's not top 10, top 20 for me. Nothing like that. Joseph.
I'm not gonna trash the song simply because I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea, obviously. Although you can't deny Dolly Parton's success. Dolly Parton was I know more. Yes, she was. And
She was younger.
probably,
She was amazing.
and she's probably considered one of the greatest female country art, if not the greatest female country artist of all time. I am not too familiar with Kenny Rogers. I often confuse him with Michael McDowell.
Oh no,
Michael McDonald. No. Rest in peace, Kenny Rogers, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah. When I hear the name Kenny Rogers, I honestly always think of Will Sasso's performance on Mad TV, where it is Kenny Rogers Jackass. They would do skits where he's like, "And I'm Kenny Rogers. Welcome to Jackass." And he would do like Jackass stuff. And he got the guys from Jackass one time to do it. When lists are put together, like a lot of our honorable mentions that weren't that, to be honest with you, like could have been actual selections if you felt really, really passionate about it. This is definitely on those, like at least top 10. It'll come out on a top 10 list, whether it's people agree that they like it or not. It's definitely out there. It's iconic. It's these two powerhouse of artists. Even though I admit to Kenny Rogers' success and whatnot, I understand it. Whether or not I was a fan of it, I can agree with it being on something like this. Of course, Dolly Parton was like, again, two big powerhouses, the Queen of Country. And was Kenny Rogers considered a country artist?
Yeah, The Gambler, Love Will Turn You Around. He had some hits, man. He's great. He's also a rock star back in the day. Yeah,
you can call this like I don't know what you would I don't know what you would consider this today as far as modern country, but
psychedelic, yeah,
whatever. I'm confused at why you chose this one.
It's fucking awesome.
I honestly thought if Bob hadn't made his selection,
the 80-year-olds that listen to our show are gonna be like, "Damn right, Randall."
It transcends time. But go, Joe.
Okay, that's cool. I honestly expected you to pick if you made your selection before Bob and you had selected Walk This Way, or even I thought you would have gone into a great detail of Bring the Noise.
Under Pressure.
Yeah.
Well, both of you could have chose those songs too, but
yeah, we could have.
Yeah,
well, I could have, but y'all told me I made the best selection, so we're good, right?
I don't think so. No, this is why I respect the pick. I respect, even though I'm not, I may not be a fan of the song. It's a feeling for you, and you really enjoy the song. I really enjoy my selection. I think it's a great. I'm sorry. Thankfully, you like my song. I personally don't. I understand its place in. I mean, Dolly Parton is Dolly Parton. She is a national treasure, and this song was massively successful. I've heard some funny covers of it. It gets used in a lot of karaoke situations, and I think that's what keeps it, aside from it being who it is, who recorded it, right. What keeps its legacy going is the fact that it's probably a go-to cover selection. We're in the hood, everybody. I don't know if you
hear the cop cars.
Is the cop cars in the background? Okay, we're passing. Arrest you for that pick. Anyway, go ahead.
No.
So did he pick what?
So it's always going to have its life. It's always going to be it's going to get used in situations. I mean, I didn't watch Glee, but I'm pretty sure it came out in Glee, right? Wouldn't it have at least come out in Glee?
I think so. I know it's like a rom-com, like, hey, we're falling in love with each other. Let's
we got to randomly do a karaoke scene.
Yeah.
If they're not
doing it, I got you. Did this come out in?
Several. I think there's several. I think there was an Allison Brie movie, and there's been a couple others.
I would have said I got.
That was a proper answer.
I would have said I Got You, Babe is better than this one, but
Sonny
and Cher were a band together. They weren't so, but yeah, it's definitely a better song.
That song's all Cher though, but go ahead.
True.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kenny Rogers he stole the show with his beautiful high notes in this one.
Let Joseph finish. Stop it.
No, it's funny. I think it's that's why I think it gets its legacy continues, because it's used not too long ago. It was used in a funny scene in How I Met Your Mother where Barney's brother James is planning to perform at their wedding, and they cut to a clip of him performing both sides, dual sides. He has one side of himself dressed up as Dolly Parton and one side of himself dressed as Kenny Rogers. So they cut and they do a scene where he's showing one side, singing the other, and then he turns and he sings the other side. And so it has its legacy in a comedic use, and it's cool. Like it's definitely a top 10 listed pick, whether people like it or not. Funny, just because we love talking about Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yes.
She released I don't know if you looked into it, because if you did the research on it, I'm sure you did. She recently released a cover of this song for, like, I guess the 911 soundtrack, the TV show that she's on. And I'm not gonna lie, I know it's Jennifer Love Hewitt and we love her, but it sounds pretty good.
Got a set of lungs on her, right?
Who's singing the Kenny Rogers part?
It's just her singing it.
Is it Post Malone? No.
She's just her singing it by herself. It sounds very something like what Coldplay would do, like if it were
Okay.
very soft ballad. It's real interesting, I guess, because in looking up this song, I was taken to somebody. It just kind of adds to it, right? A new cover version it was released recently this year by an actress slash musician, and
Look,
so its legacy continues.
I will say this because we're talking about legacies, as you mentioned. The legacy of this song is still very vibrant. It comes out even as for comedy's sake, for sitcoms, for rom-coms, for covers. It happens. Now, the thing with Run DMC and Aerosmith, it did more for their careers than any of these songs did for the other artists' careers. That is undeniable, right? You can't debate that, unassailable. But I think the enduring factor of Islands in the Stream being a duet, being a fun song to sing, an easy song to sing, that's what keeps it alive. Wedding. You can sing it at your wedding. I mean, you can't sing Walk This Way at your wedding. I guess you can, right? Down the aisle, right?
Yeah. Talk this way. And that's just a priest.
Just give me a kiss. But I mean, like I said, there's no denying that it did for Run DMC and Aerosmith what no other song could do for any other artist. But Islands in the Stream will always be there for you when you turn around, no matter what. That is going to be the song. Don't turn around. But
every
great
now and then.
Great talk, guys. Final questions. Going back in time, were there any musical collaborations you wish you had heard? Is there like two wish list artists you wish could collaborate on a song?
I would say if Robert Plant did something with David Gilmour, that'd be pretty cool. Those are one of my favorite bands from the 60s and 70s.
That's a real good one.
Yeah, the Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. That would be pretty fucking cool, I think.
Have you guys heard a song called State of Shock? It's Michael Jackson and Mick Jagger, but it was originally recorded Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson. And if you listen to the Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson rendition, it's far better. I mean, Mick Jagger's a legend. He's awesome, and the song is good. But
except for his dancing.
Freddie Mercury and Michael Jackson do an amazing State of Shock that was not released. In modern stuff, I think Post Malone, get him on the phone. He can do no wrong. He's a great collaborator. I would love to see Lady Gaga, Daft Punk. I think that would be great. Q-Tip and the Gorillaz. Joseph, any of them come to your mind?
I'd agree with the Post Malone thing. I think he's got that whole other side of him. When he did the whole live Nirvana cover show.
He did awesome.
I said, This guy, you know what? This dude can do some rock music. I'd love to see him get with some rock bands and put some stuff out there, or just record an album in general on his own of some rock songs.
I think he's going to release a country album, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing now. So, I mean, yeah, like Randy said, man, and I think he's going to have some collaborations on that country album that are probably going to blow some people away. I think if just real quickly, if I want to say something that probably shouldn't have happened, Metallica and Lou Reed. Lulu, that shouldn't have happened. Great good music. If you remove the spoken vocals and just listen to the music, it's great.
Post Malone has this viral clip going on. He's doing a George Strait cover. I can't remember the song, but he has a guitar with
Friends in Low Places.
No, it's not. No. That's a wrong person. Yeah,
wrong person.
That's Garth. Anyway, he has a guitar with
Garth Algar.
He has a guitar with a picture of Mike Myers. Speaking of Garth, the killer, not the actor, Michael Myers. It's awesome. Really cool. He does a great rendition. Also, I think had she lived, I think a great collaborator would have been Amy Winehouse, because she has such a classic voice. I think if you would have put her in with some rock musicians or even some just great pop artists, I think Amy Winehouse could have created some magic with some collaborations.
That's a tragedy for her, man. She had an amazing. She was just getting started, man. So that's pretty bad, pretty sad.
She was great, man. Guys, final thoughts on music collaborations.
I think I like them. I think we. I dig them, dude. I dig. I know one of my honorable mentions was a band that none of y'all know. Probably none of our listeners know. Be Fouled Tongue. This is a deathcore band that I'm into, and they got a singer from another deathcore band that I'm really into, and they collaborate together.
Do they roar together, Joseph?
Yes, they do. they very much so. But I think it's cool, and I think they're never don't ever stop doing them. I guess I just say
believing. Don't stop believing, Joseph. You missed the opportunity.
You know, I think there's some really cool stuff that's going to come out still in the future. We're gonna see some really awesome collaborations. Is that cool? And it might be from musicians that I don't really like, but hey, it's cool. It's good for the young people.
It's good for the young people, the youngins. Yeah, collaborations, they're amazing, dude, because you get to see, you know, that great blend of two different artists, especially if they come from different backgrounds or different sounds, or they're in the same genre of music, but they do things a little differently. I think it's great for music, and I think that it's great for artists, especially popular artists, to be able to help bands or other artists that are not as popular become, you know, reach their peak, reach a whole different audience. And hopefully music evolves, man. I haven't heard a lot of good music lately, so I'm hoping that we get some good shit going.
I think as far as music collaborations go, if your work broadens an audience, you've done your job. It has to be innovative and creative. The acts have to follow. The acts have to forever be connected. Like, you can't write the artist's musical obituary without mentioning the other artist or the collaboration they had. They are a reflection of who or what was hot at the time, and they have to have a lasting legacy. And I think we covered that through the songs we chose and the opinions we shared with the audience. Now, guys, we're going to be off for the next few weeks. We won't release another episode till 3 weeks. Anything you guys want to say? Shout outs. I'll start off. Just happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We know that next week is Father's Day. So to our dads.
Holy shit, it's already next Sunday?
It's next Sunday, yeah. Wow. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And thanks to our dads for raising three people with great musical tastes, right?
Fantastic taste of music and pop culture, movies.
What do you guys
Great opinions. Definitely happy Father's Day to everybody out there, all the dads that listen to us, you know, our dads. I love Father's Day, such like a, I don't know, man. It's a good holiday. You just want, like, you know, you want to make a steak for yourself or for your dad. You want to have a steak, you want to have a beer, or you have a drink, and you just kind of want to like sit back and watch your kids play. It's a pretty great holiday to just sit around and talk with your kids, or spend time with your dad or loved ones and everything like that. It is the summertime, so I know we're taking a couple of weeks off, folks, but we're going to do some traveling. We're going to be together actually probably next week, hanging
next
out,
weekend, yes.
the three of us. So we'll probably have a beer. We'll probably take some photos with Joseph blacked out because he hates pictures. He feels like it steals his soul. But we'll post some stuff to what we're doing, where we're drinking, what we're doing, where we're hanging out at. So you'll get some content. And we're coming back with a really great episode. Randy, you want to fill in on what's the next episode?
We're going to talk about the great legendary Mel Brooks. We're going to talk best Mel Brooks scene. We love Mel Brooks. He's been a huge influence on our lives. The comedy we take in, the comedy we love. So we're looking forward to honoring a legend.
And it's his birthday. I mean, that's what we're doing it for. It's his birthday. How old again? He's going to be 90.
He's going to be 98, I believe. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. He's going to outlive us all, dude. He's a great comedian. Great. I love everything about his movies. And yeah, it's going to be a great show. And it gives us 2 weeks to prepare for it, folks. So it's going to work out really well.
Absolutely. Joseph, any parting words for the next few weeks?
I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor a
harumph.
Hey, I bet.
Hey, I bet.
I can't wait for that. Hey, boys. Miss me.
Oh, dude, how much of that show are we going to actually be able to post?
I don't know. This is just going to be
a lot of the quotes and of course, like what Bob and Rand said, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Check out all the new stuff coming out. We'll see y'all in a couple of weeks. There's some good stuff coming out. Like we already mentioned probably maybe an episode a week ago. Go check out Evil. Check out all these shows. The Boys is coming back.
The Boys. House of Dragons coming back.
A lot of great. It's the summer shows are coming back. That's great. Stay out of the heat. If you're like us who live in hell,
hell. See you in hell.
Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks, guys.
Before we do the outro, I do want to mention that Buzzsprout has this new feature on our on any podcast platform, I should say. They have a feature where you could send us a text. It's right below. It's the first thing you see on our show notes. You can choose to remain anonymous. It doesn't take your real phone number. It just gives you a generic number to send us a text. Or if you want to add your name for a shout out on our next episode, you can find that option at the top of our show notes. We're going to do some future collaborations that are coming up in the future. I think future collaborations coming up in the future. Okay, that's
stop collaborating. Listen, Randall.
Speaking of collaborations and repetitions. Okay, so we're going to make sure to collaborate with people, but we want to hear from you all. What episodes would you like us to cover? Do you want your name shouted out on an episode? We would love to hear from you. So that's a brand new feature. Check it out on any podcast platform. Just click the send us a text message link, and you could remain anonymous if you want.
Give us some show ideas. That'd be great. Give us some show ideas, some show topics.
Love to have that. But we'll see.
Stuff that we come up with when we're drinking, like next week, or sometimes garbage.
It's garbage. But we have fun doing it, right, guys?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's our show, everyone. Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up and let us know who your favorite music collaboration was. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com and follow us on all forms of social media by searching for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork. Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on any podcast platform you're listening to us on. And please send us those text messages. Give us some ideas. Get your name shouted out. Maybe get a guest spot in the future. We'd love to have your ideas, and we'd love to hear from you. And join us next episode. We're taking a break, as we mentioned, but we'll be back in a few weeks as we pay homage to the legend, the great Mel Brooks. So for Bob and Joseph, we'll see you all in a few weeks.
Say. Should have been no.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, everybody.
That was the best part of it.